Ho ho ho, Merry Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, or Happy Hanukkah or Kwanzaa. Whatever holiday you choose to celebrate, I hope you have a good one, and unfortunately, given the circumstances, I hope you're also having a safe holiday as well. And if you don't celebrate any holidays, then have a day. But I'm doing a movie review, and since today is Christmas, the movie I want to review is the 1997 direct-to-video Christmas-themed horror comedy film, Jack Frost, not to be confused with the Michael Keaton film of the same name. And I gotta take this stupid fucking hat off. Now, Jack Frost was written and directed by Michael Cooney, who would actually go on to write the movie Identity. Now, on the audio commentary that's on this Blu-ray that Vinegar Syndrome put out a few years ago, Michael Cooney says that the two movies that inspired him the most were actually James Cameron's The Abyss and Wes Craven's Shocker. Now, the inspiration that came from The Abyss, now keep in mind, I haven't seen The Abyss since I was a little kid, but it was that scene where you had that pillar of water that was, like, alive, and also Wes Craven's Shocker was about a serial killer who becomes electricity. So this gave Michael Cooney the idea of a serial killer who becomes water. Now, according to Cooney on the commentary, the original script that he wrote for this was apparently going to be much darker, and he originally wrote it to be a much bigger budgeted film. And one director who showed interest in the script was actually Renny Harlin, who at the time had directed A Nightmare on Elm Street 4 and Die Hard 2. But Renny Harlin's wife at the time read the script and said it was the biggest piece of shit she ever read. Now, of course, at the time, he was married to Gina Davis, and she wanted to do this little movie called Cutthroat Island, and we all know how that turned out. But when Cooney couldn't get the budget that he needed to make his original script into a movie, he decided to sort of embrace the silliness of it, and he took what was originally going to be a serious sci-fi thriller and made it this really silly, low-budget movie about a killer snowman. Now, Jack Frost is probably one of the stupidest movies ever made, but the thing is, it's meant to be. Like, this movie knows exactly what it is. But while it is a very silly movie, it is a fun movie as well. And keep in mind, I'm somebody who unironically loves the Leprechaun movies, so I really can't be too hard on a movie like this. Now, I remember as a little kid going into Suncoast Video or Blockbuster and seeing the VHS of this movie, and it had that cover where if you turn it one way, it's like the friendly-looking snowman, and then you turn it another way, and it's that, like, monstrous-looking snowman. Now, the plot of Jack Frost is it's about a serial killer whose name happens to be Jack Frost, who's arrested and tried and is about to be executed. But as he's being transported to his place of execution, he attempts to escape, coincidentally, right when the transport vehicle crashes into a truck carrying this experimental chemical. He gets exposed to the chemical and then melts down into the snow. But long story short, Jack Frost ends up coming back to life as a mutant killer snowman, and he goes after the small-town sheriff who arrested him. So now it's up to Sheriff Sam Tyler to put an end to Jack Frost's reign of terror. Now, most of the acting in the film is not very good, but I will argue that sort of the main cast of characters, they do good jobs, I would say, because the actors clearly know what kind of movie this is. And Christopher Allport, I would say, does do a pretty good job as Sam Tyler, who is actually a really likable protagonist. I also really liked the character of Agent Matters, played by, I believe the actor's name is Stephen Mendel, but he was a pretty fun character. He's this government agent who's sent in to capture Jack Frost. I also really liked the character of Marla, played by Marsha Clark. I just really loved her, like, sarcastic attitude throughout the whole film. This movie's also notable for being Shannon Elizabeth's first movie, and I gotta say, her acting is pretty bad in the movie, but she does have probably the film's most infamous scene where, I don't know any nice way to say this, but basically in the movie her character is raped and killed by Jack Frost. Guess where the fucking carrot is in that scene? Scott MacDonald actually does a really good job in this movie. Like, when you see Jack Frost when he's a human, honestly, he's pretty intimidating, and I could see Scott MacDonald playing a serial killer in a more serious movie. But when he's voicing the Snowman, he's just fucking hilarious. It definitely reminded me of Child's Play a little bit. You could definitely see a Child's Play influence on this movie. And I loved some of Jack Frost's one-liners in this movie, like, world's most pissed-off snow cone, or one point in the movie he gets blown up and then reforms himself, and he's all messed up, and he's like, look, Mom, I'm a Picasso! Or one line in the movie that really cracks me up, and it shouldn't because it's so stupid, but at one point he gets hit by a truck, and he's flying through the air, and he just screams, I can see your house from up here! Now, one character in this movie who really got on my fucking nerves was the sheriff's kid. One, the kid was a terrible actor, but also the character himself was probably the stupidest kid on the planet. I really don't want to give too much away because it is his stupidity that ends up being the thing that defeats Jack Frost at the end, or helps defeat Jack Frost, but still, this kid is pretty freaking dumb. I'm just gonna say what makes this kid so freaking stupid, and this will only make sense if you've actually seen the movie, but I gotta say, you don't put fucking antifreeze into oatmeal unless you're trying to kill somebody. But yeah, Jack Frost is a really fun movie. I mean, it's a stupid movie, but it's a fun movie. But the thing is, it knows it's stupid. Like, Michael Cooney knew exactly what kind of movie he was making. Even though the original script that he wrote was meant to be a little more serious, the final product knows exactly what it is. And, come on, it's a movie about a killer snowman. You really can't get too mad at a movie like this, because if you're expecting a movie like this to be like Silence of the Lambs, then you're gonna be disappointed. Now, this movie actually had a sequel in 2000 called Jack Frost 2, Revenge of the Mutant Killer Snowman, and I actually kind of like that movie a little bit better than this, only because that one kind of ups the stupid to a whole new level. I am going to review that movie eventually, but it won't be any time in the near future, though. But yeah, that was my review on Jack Frost, and before I end this video, I want to cut to a short review on this movie done by my friend Jeremy. And once again, Merry Christmas.
Jack Frost is a hilariously bad movie. Its premise is so silly and it's so poorly executed that you just can't help but laugh. So much of this movie is so over the top and ridiculous. I mean, even the child's voice at the beginning of the movie sounds so over the top and fake. Interestingly enough, the voice of the man telling his niece the story of Jack Frost is that of writer-director Michael Cooney. One good thing I can say about the movie is that Scott MacDonald gives a good performance as Jack Frost, especially in the few scenes in which he's human. Yeah, he's pretty creepy in those scenes, because I think that Scott MacDonald has a natural, creepy look. So that definitely worked well for him in this role. Most of the other actors in this movie aren't very good, especially the kid who plays the son of the protagonist. He's awful to watch, and he's also really stupid. He actually puts antifreeze in his father's oatmeal, and even though it helps kill Jack Frost, it's still like, you know that would have killed your father if he had eaten it, right? Also, his reaction after witnessing Jack Frost kill that bully is pretty nonchalant. I also didn't like the acting of the bully's parents. The dad is really over the top, and the mom sounds like she's reading her lines off of cue cards. I will admit, though, I do like the bad pun Jack makes after he kills the dad with an axe.
Gosh, I only axed you for a smoke.
Another death scene worth mentioning is Shannon Elizabeth's death scene, in which the snowman traps her in ice while she's taking a bath and then smashes her against the wall while he fucks her to death. It's so over the top, and the music and the sound of her head hitting the wall just makes it all the more silly to watch. This was Shannon Elizabeth's first movie before she hit it big with American Pie, and I must say, what a way to start. Someone I know met her at an autograph convention and brought an 8x10 photo of her getting killed by Jack Frost, and she signed it, but she wasn't thrilled. I have a feeling that she looks down on this movie, and I don't entirely blame her. Her character Jill is pretty stupid considering she and her boyfriend are breaking into the sheriff's house. It's like, you do realize how much trouble you'll be in if you get caught, right? I also love Jack's line when he first appears to the boyfriend.
Well, it ain't fucking Frosty.
I'd say just about all the death scenes in this movie are hilarious to watch. The snowman effects are pretty piss poor as well, but from what I've read, this movie's budget was very small, so I guess that's to be expected. In fact, I read that director Michael Cooney said that the budget of this film was made for the catering budget of another film that he wrote. However, I will give credit where credit is due. Scott MacDonald's voice works really well when you hear it come out of the snowman's mouth. They obviously altered it in post-production, but I think it works pretty well. Also, after part of Jack Frost's head has been burned away by the antifreeze, the gory effect showing his open head is pretty cool and disgusting. So yeah, the movie has a few good things about it, and I will admit, it's at least fun to watch, but yeah, it's still a pretty bad movie. Also, before I wrap up this review, one more thing that I have to mention is the name of the town in which the movie takes place. Its name is Snowman. Oh god, what a stupid name for a town. Well, I'll wrap it up here. I hope you've all enjoyed my review. Take care and stay safe.